JW Night Talk. So join us in the studio. Here we go. Welcome to JW Night Talk. So I'm looking at the screen here, and we already have quite a crowd on tonight. I guess everyone likes movie night. So my glasses are still defogging. I was just outside, and they go dark by themselves. So I'll take them off for a bit and let them calm down. So who do we have on tonight? We have Ryan from Cultastic. Hello, Ryan. And everyone, we will be talking and featuring one of Ryan's movies tonight. So if you have a chance and you haven't yet been able to meet Ryan, she's on the chat right now. And you can meet her as another creator. And if you haven't already subscribed, you can check out her channel. We're going to go to it in a bit and take a look at it. So thanks for joining us tonight, Ryan. And I'm going to put on my glasses here so I can see. Sherry D, well, thank you for being online. Shalom, Sherry, back to you. Michelle Allen, thanks for being here. And Witness Underground. Now, if you haven't seen or heard anything about Witness Underground, there is a witnessunderground.com. You can check that out, and it's very, very interesting. Thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope to have you on an upcoming show. So now let's see who else is on with us tonight. We have Fixing My Faith. My good wife is at the other end, and I do have my mic on. Thank you to my good wife. That's my thing here. I always keep forgetting the mic. And I think I got my mixer working tonight for me. So what we're going to do tonight here is we're going to move on, and we're going to talk a little bit about July 4th. Now, I had a chance to talk about July 1st on my Saturday Sex Show, and that's Canada Day here in Canada. Is it the same thing as July 4th? Well, not really. I kind of learned a little bit here. And July 4th, Independence Day in the United States, people ask, what is it all about? Well, the 4th of July celebrates the passage of the Declaration of Independence by the Continental Congress of July 4th, 1776. And the Declaration announced the political separation of the 13 North American colonies from Great Britain, where here in Canada everything was all attached to Great Britain. So it was kind of like opposite ends in a sense. Now, July 4th marks the anniversary when the delegates from the United States, original 13 colonies, signed this Declaration of Independence on July 4th. And the document declared that the nation was independent from Great Britain. And there's a reason for that. The colonies felt that since they did not take part in voting for members of Parliament in England, well then, they weren't represented. So why should they be forced to give taxes? And that makes sense. So this was a big thing. This is what pushed it. No taxation without representation became the American rallying cry. And so Independence Day, known as the 4th of July, is a federal holiday in the United States commemorating the Declaration of Independence. Now, I'm going to move on here. How would you explain that to a Canadian Well, that's how you explain it to a child. It's a federal holiday, which means everyone gets a day off from work or school. That's how you explain it to a Jehovah's Witness. That's really, when you're a Jehovah's Witness, the only thing you really want is the day off. You want nothing to do with the holiday, and you just demonize. Everything's demonized if you're a Jehovah's Witness. You just want the day off work with pay. The Jehovah's Witnesses always take the day off work with pay, because how do I know? I was an employer and I had all Jehovah's Witness workers, and I thought, well, they don't believe in the holiday. They should be able to work on the holiday with no extra pay. No way. You got to pay them. Okay, well, it says this day is important because it marks the anniversary of the Declaration of Independence. It's kind of like celebrating an anniversary. And if you look at the flag, I want to talk about the flag a little bit here. The stripes represent the original 13 colonies, and the stars represent the 50 states of the Union. And the colors of the flag are symbolic as well. Red symbolizes hardiness and valor. White symbolizes purity and innocence. And blue represents vigilance, perseverance, and justice. All good qualities, all qualities that we find in the Bible. And we'll notice that the Constitution is actually closely related to the Bible. Now, some of the things that I was looking at the Constitution, what does it say? Well, it kind of says what we want to say as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, what we want to say to the Watchtower. And here it is. The Constitution says, we hold these truths to be self-evident. So for us as ex-JWs, when we find out the real truth, well, they become self-evident. It's obvious. And then here it goes on to say that all men are created equal. And that's what we're shooting for. Enough with the shunning, enough with the disfellowshipping, enough with not having a right to even speak. All men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator. It's right in the Constitution, with certain unalienable rights. That among these are life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. So how many of us ex-Jehovah's Witnesses have been robbed of happiness? So here, by being a part of the BeFree2023.com, that's coming up. That's in front of the White House, and that's coming up on October 31st of this year. So now's the time to start planning for this and make a holiday out of it. It's not a scary event. Just go onto the website and you can get some information on this event. And this is where we get to stand up for these rights, the pursuit of happiness. And it goes on to say that to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the Constitution. So this is a good thing to understand what the Constitution is all about. And is it wrong to be a part of the fireworks tonight? If you're in the U.S., it's going to be all over. So let's see what Jehovah's Witnesses have to say. And I'm going to pull you over to their website here. We're going to take a look at the display. And so here, this is a long article about all the dates and events that Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate. Like all of them, they don't celebrate anything. They don't have a part of anything. Except they do celebrate anniversaries. Like let's say a marriage anniversary every year. At least in my Jehovah's Witness family, we did. I don't know about yours. Maybe we can see some comments on the comment bar. But when I was in, everyone celebrated anniversaries. In fact, in my family, we made anniversaries like Christmas. We bought everyone gifts. The kids got gifts, and we kind of made it like Christmas because I felt bad that the kids missed out on the Christmas all the time, and birthdays too. Excuse me. So now, here's what Jehovah's Witnesses think about Independence Day. They say celebrations of a nation's history or independence. Well, this is the subheading: celebration of a nation's history or independence. And here's what it says: regarding his followers, Jesus says they are no part of the world, just as I am no part of the world. It just says they are no part of the world as I am no part of the world. But if you go on to read that, we are in the world, but we're no part of the world. But we have to be in the world too. You see, Jehovah's Witnesses cherry pick, and this isn't what this topic tonight is about, examining them too closely. But just so you know, this scripture is just cherry picked. It's just a piece of the scripture. So, although they are pleased to learn about the nation's histories, Jehovah's Witnesses remain separate from such events as following. So, they remain separate from Australia Day, Guy Fawkes Day. Australia Day is probably similar to our Canada Day, because Australia is like Canada. There's Guy Fawkes Day. This is a day of national celebration and commemoration of the failed attempt by Guy Fawkes and other Catholic sympathizers to blow up King James I Parliament in 1605. I didn't know there was any such of a thing. But anyways, Jehovah's Witnesses make sure that they put the Catholic thing in there. They don't like Catholics. Now, Independence Day, they mention that right in here. And they talk about Independence Day in several lands. This is a day set aside for public celebration of an anniversary connected with the beginnings of national independence. And they quote the Webster's Dictionary. So they're saying Jehovah's Witnesses do not celebrate these because of what Jesus says. They are no part of the world, just as I am no part of the world. Well, Jesus doesn't say don't go to the fireworks or don't have a part of it. Well, what if Jesus says don't celebrate anniversaries? That's kind of part of the world? What about wedding rings? Wedding rings are pagan. They have pagan origins. So do a lot of these weddings and stuff, wedding dresses and all these things. The real wedding is you just take the woman to bed and you're married. You come out the next day and you're married. That's the real wedding. So, but there's all of these celebrations and there's all of these traditions that, but are they bad? No, absolutely not. Jehovah's Witnesses is a self-righteous religion that tries to make them, you see, if they make everything bad, then they step on the backs of everyone else and they're higher. They're higher up. You remember when we were a Jehovah's Witness, we felt righteous. We felt self-righteous. We felt better. We felt like we had the truth. But once we get out, and the further we get out, the further we realize that it's really, really not that. So don't let this stop you from these old Jehovah's Witness indoctrinations. There is our fireworks again. But don't let any of this stop you from having a part in the fireworks or anything tonight. Sometimes those things can be enjoyable. I remember we were, and I said this on my last show, we were on a congregation in northern Alberta here, and on Canada Day out there, it was Cold Lake, so over top the lake, the fire department would shoot all these fireworks. And every year the congregation, most of the congregation would be down there at the marina watching the fireworks. And then one day my little son says, well, Dad, what is this? And I said, well, it's Canada's birthday. And, is it Canada's birthday? Well, that's what I said it was. But it's really a forming of independence is really what that Canada Day is too. It's where they became a country. And so it is like a birthday. So anyways, he says, I thought we don't celebrate birthdays, Dad. And I said, well, good question. So I tapped the presiding overseer in the back, and he asked the presiding overseer the same question. And the presiding overseer packed his family up and went home. And so did everyone else. No one ever went to the fireworks again. So I guess fireworks is kind of a taboo thing, although many Jehovah's Witnesses go down and view the fireworks. You're not going to burn in hell for going to the fireworks. You know that. But anyways, thanks again for being on, everyone, tonight. We have Beverly Howard. Hello. And we're going to start with our movie night tonight. It's a collaboration we're doing. And why do people collaborate? Why is collaboration important within the XJW community? Why is that important for us? Well, if you're just starting out, let's say you just left the religion and you're just starting out and you put out your first video and you kind of want to fit in and you're not sure if you're going to fit in, and you have a lot of things kind of going against you because maybe you're even still PMO. I don't know. There's a lot of creators online that you don't know who they are. Well, we're going to take a look at one tonight, and one tonight was recommended to me by one of our subscribers, Mimi, I believe, if she's on tonight. Thank you for your recommendations. And so we looked at this and we thought it was fabulous. It's his first video, this person's first video. They only have 25 subscribers. We're going to look at them in a bit. So collaboration is very important to encourage new creators to do what we're doing. Because we're not going to last forever. Not all of us are. And we're going to eventually move on to other things. So we need other people to take over and do kind of the same thing and do better stuff. So collaboration is really important. One of the things, the 5 principles that goes with collaboration is applying trust, respect, willingness, empowerment, and effective communication towards our community and towards our human relationships with one another. So as creator to creator, we respect each other's work. So this is what's important. What are the 4 types? Well, there's team collaboration, community collaboration, network collaboration, and cloud collaboration. So we're going to look at some networking tonight with some community creator collaboration. And the first one that we have here is, I'm going to move over to another screen here, is the blue envelope. Now, the blue envelope, if you haven't yet subscribed to the blue envelope, he has 80 videos out, 5.59 subscribers. And if you don't know what he looks like, you see right here, this one where my mouse is pointing, there's the blue envelope, Jake, I believe is his name. So we're going to look at his latest video. The latest video is Stephen Lett gives counsel to avoid theatrics. Now, can you imagine Stephen Lett? You know, here's the governing body, and he has to counsel the Gilead members because of theatrics. People are becoming overly theatrical. And so the governing body put Stephen Lett on the platform to set them straight. So I got such a kick out of this video. It inspired me to write a little skit. And I'm going to show you the skit first before we look at this video. But before we look at this video, I want to talk a little bit about Jake. And I like to go to the About channel. Jake says, welcome. I was one of Jehovah's Witnesses for 30 years before I eventually left. And he says, I was a 2nd generation witness, ministerial servant, regular pioneering, spent the final part of my JW career in a foreign language congregation in Spanish. And he says on this channel, I talk about a variety of topics having to do with the religion. I named the channel The Blue Envelope because we talk about the things which aren't always common knowledge. And special blue envelopes were used by congregations to send reports of judicial committees to Watchtower headquarters. You see, I didn't know that, so I thought that's interesting. And the distinct color ensured that women working in Bethel mailrooms wouldn't open the correspondence. Interesting. Didn't know that either. Service department eyes only. Now, he says you can check out my memoir as an ebook or paperback on Amazon. He gives a link there. Or read and download for free PDF right here. And so that's great. I'm going to do that. I just actually signed up to Jake. I just signed up to the channel here the other day. So I'm still learning. I've only been in the community for about a year, so I'm still learning who's out there. And so I thank you for you subscribers recommending some of these videos. And I think this was another recommended video from one of our subscribers. So now that we know a little bit more about Jake, you can see Jake just at the blue envelope. And if you haven't subscribed, you can subscribe. So we're going to take a look at this video here, and I'm going to have to switch screens. And here we go.
Last year, something big changed.
New artificial intelligence systems.
There's been an awful lot, but as a
Okay. And I'm going to turn my mic
But as a caution, since its inception in 2014, we don't want to be theatrical. The School for Kingdom Evangelizers, in our speaking, has a
Okay, I'm going to come back on here. So I forgot to, we're right here. I forgot to play my prelude to this Stephen Lett talk. So the governing body gave Stephen Lett the job to give this talk. Now, Stephen Lett, there's kind of a backstory in here. We're going to play the backstory first. I missed it. So here's the backstory. I think it's my phone ringing. Have to watch now. I better get going. Yeah, I better get going down the hall here.
Hello, Fix-It. I'm glad you're in the office finally. I've been calling for 5 minutes. You know it's after 6 a.m. and you're 5 minutes late.
Well, I'm sorry.
We will be adjusting that from your office rental.
I just was late catching the bus. It's early in the morning here, and you know how that goes, Stephen. Maybe just give me a little break, eh? Anyways, what do you guys want? Or what do you want this early?
All those Gilead graduates are trying to copy my gestures and my unique and very effective way of speaking. I do not like it. I want them to stop this fraudulent speaking. They have robbed these techniques from me. I want to be number one. I want the focus to be on me, not on you, or anyone else for that matter, and especially not on those Gilead graduates.
Well, I get what you're saying, Stephen. You know, you're the governing body, you're the next to God, and you do have a unique way of speaking, Stephen. You do. And I could see how a lot of people would want to copy you, but all you got to do is give a talk and tell them to quit it. You're the boss. Just tell them to quit copying you. And you can do it, Stephen. You're the boss. You're next to God.
I like that idea. I have the power to just order them to stop with these gestures. Yes,
Yeah.
I will give that talk.
Governing body, eh? But, you know, they are next to God, so why not just tell everyone to quit? Because Stephen is the best, isn't he? Glad I could help. So anyways, there's the there's the backstory, and now we're going to see what Stephen Lett did. So we're going to change screens here to here, and
As a caution, since its inception in 2014, we don't want to be theatrical. The School for Kingdom Evangelizers, in our speaking, has accomplished much good in the worldwide field. That means this 2-month school, we wouldn't want to use extreme gestures, is designed to train experienced pioneers or dramatic expressions who are willing to serve wherever they're needed. Overly theatrical, and while many have eagerly reached out for this opportunity, even theatrical, others hold back. Why? Why? Because now you end up drawing attention to yourself, don't you? Some might reason, I'm content where I am, rather than to what we're teaching. I could be sent anywhere. And that's emphasis in the wrong place, isn't it? I hate moving.
Well, we sincerely thank you, Brother Lett, for those very practical comments about learning to be a good teacher.
They don't need me. There are plenty of others who can reach out.
Very, very much appreciated.
I have a good job that supports my pioneering.
Thank you, Brother
I'm not smart enough.
Very, very much.
My circumstances don't allow it.
Thank you.
Well, can you relate to any of these feelings?
Very.
The governing body understands. We warmly invite you to come to the SKE meeting during the noon hour tomorrow. He said, Brother Lett, I always look forward to your talks. I know I'm going to wake up totally refreshed.
That's hilarious. That is hilarious. So anyways, we want to really thank Jake for that. That was a lot of hard work he put into that video. So Jake, good job. If you notice every one of those splices, like there's just so much work that went into that video, and then to have all those references and all those little pieces. A really good job, Jake. Very fantastic job, and it really brought home the point. Like, why would they send Stephen Lett up to give a talk on that? Or is it because, sorry, I got something in my mouth here. Something's floating around in the shop here. Sorry. But, do they, it's almost like a comedy show when we think of how the governing body works. So it's just crazy. So the next person we have up is, let me see here, we have Watchtower Help Admin. We have Ryan at Cultastic. Let's do Ryan's show at Cultastic, and I'm going to move over to a different screen. Here we are. So for those of you that have not met Ryan, this is Ryan, and this is her site at A Goddess. And Ryan, she says, I am an auxiliary pioneer of the Jehovah's Witnesses who spent the last 2+ years on a journey of self-discovery and unraveling the 40-year-long web of high-control religion. And that's what we've all been doing. Thank you for sharing. Join me as I delve deeper into the mysteries of the Bible and excuse me, here, and unearth the profound insights about myself along the way. The world is out of balance without the divine feminine, and I believe that the goddesses are reaching out to us from the pages of the Bible. Unfortunately, due to redactions, scribal errors, and editing, the stories of women have been suppressed or forgotten. But fear not, I'm on a mission to decode this invaluable information and share it with all those willing to listen. Let's explore the hidden truths of our past together, shedding light on the silenced voices of the women in the Bible as we embark on a journey toward enlightenment and understanding. And you can find me on other channels at Skeptic Haven, at Apostate Coalition, at Apostate Weekly, at So Cultry, and she has some taglines. So you can also email Ryan, and I think that's cool when you can get a hold of the creators. I know I try to send everyone an email. So that's great, and Ryan does reply to the email. So thank you, Ryan. And we hope to get Ryan on an upcoming interview, once I get better at doing this, and I get my Zoom or get a platform that I can work on for doing these interviews. So thanks again, Ryan. We're going to take a look at one of Ryan's movies, and Ryan is quite the artist. Not only is she educational to watch, you look at some of her movies on on the women part of the Bible and how that all got left out. And if we go a way back, and I know Ryan has encouraged us, my wife and I, to dig deeper and to research deeper, and we have, and it seems like a lot of us creators are coming to the same conclusion, that the Bible actually isn't what we think it is, that there's other gods involved. So I'm going to leave that up to you guys as the viewers. You guys can do your own research, but it seems like a lot of us are coming to this conclusion, and it's bizarre, but it's a real awakening, and it really it's an enlightenment. So don't let it scare you. None of this stuff's scary. We've been tracking down this road for a bit. So now we're going to look at the video I chose off Ryan's. I really like it. It's about the Apostle Paul. And the Apostle Paul, I always wondered, even when I was a Jehovah's Witness, and I was sitting there in elders meetings, and I was taking the counsel through the yin yang, and they're reading me all this Apostle Paul stuff, and I just didn't buy it, because they were counseling me about my children and how I was raising my children, and they were using the Apostle Paul's words. And what bothered me the most is this guy didn't even go near a woman, and didn't really appear to like children. Like, he knew nothing about children. That's like taking these guys in the congregation, and excuse me if you were one, because no offense, but they become 18 and they never get married, and they become celibate their whole life, and they're Paul coming in and counseling you about your marriage. And that's kind of what he does. And that always bothered me when I was a JW, and even more so now that I'm on the other side. So let's see how Ryan explains this to us. We're going to move over to her video here.
High value woman should be quiet in church. I mean, I'm talking as soon as she steps foot in the temple. Oh, shh. Right? You're gonna need that Holy Spirit to activate. Am I right? Holy Spirit activate. Holy Spirit. You're gonna need that Holy Spirit to keep it quiet, right? You never lie. You never lie, Paul. Spotless clean, baby. What I'm trying to teach females is they need to speak when spoken to, because if she is wife material, she'll be obedient and submissive and not overbearing. As a high value man, I have expectations set upon me by revelations. Right. So that rhymes. Very smooth. Smooth. Paul, you gotta tell our audience what you look for in a quality female. Me? Well, for me, when I think of a high value, when I think of a high value woman, let me just, they're dying to know. A high value woman, what I want. Oh yeah. For me, let's just start off here. I love an honest to goodness I love an honest to goodness Bro, you alright? I have an extremely high aptitude. I need a female who is on my level, but it's gonna allow me to shape her into the Christian woman she was intended to be. Right. A lady in the streets and a Jezebel in the sheets. Yeah. What about you, bro? Personally, for me, to even want to become one flesh with in order for me to become one flesh with a female, you know, I just abstain from sex. Brother Christ, what is up? Jesus just told me. He just told me, abstain from sex. It's gross. Sex is gross. Say what? Gross?
Oh, I love that show. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did again. So thanks to Ryan at Cultastic, a goddess. Thank you for that, Ryan. I think you summed that up really well, and it answered my questions about the Apostle Paul. So we're going to move on here. Our next, let's take a look at the live chat here and see who's online. Hopscraft, hello from Quebec. How are you doing? It's the safest place on earth, he says. So that's great. Good to know. We'll have to come out there and visit you when it gets bad out here in the West. So, GG4B, hello Gilbert. Thanks for joining the show tonight. Sounds like you guys are having a good sex discussion. And Beverly Howard, thanks for joining us. So, Tall Cool Woman, thanks for being online. And Marmy, thanks a lot, Marmy. And Marmy, I think it was you that recommended I think it's going to be our last show here tonight. And we're going to look at that. So thanks for doing that. So we're going to move on here in the program, and we're going to go over to, here we go, Watchtower Help Club. So probably a lot of you guys have seen this. I've been promoting Watchtower Help Club for quite a bit. Now, Watchtower Help Club is at 909 subscribers. He has 8 videos. It takes thousands of hours to make some of these movies the way he does them. And so if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. As creators, we cannot monetize any of this. And monetizing, we hope, will pay our internet bill. That's about all you get out of it. A couple $100 a month. That's all. We're lucky if we get that. And but you get enough to pay your internet bill. And that's good as a creator, because a lot of us do this part-time. We do it's charity work for most of us. And I know there's some that are trying to kind of make a go of it, so you do need patrons if you're going to try to make it. If you're younger and you got to pay rent and you got to rent an office or rent space, I'm fortunate to, I'm older, and so you get older and you accumulate stuff. So I'm just using an old shop and converted it into a studio, so it works for me. But Watchtower Help, he's at 909, so he only needs 90 more subscribers. So if we can somehow do that, share his videos and help him get there, then he can at least start to pay his internet bill. And believe me, once you hit 1,000, it seems like YouTube holds you on for like months before you start getting any of that revenue. You start monetizing, but it takes months. So the sooner we can help our other creators reach monetization, I believe it gives them a little bit of an incentive. Now we're going to take a look at reality TV done by Watchtower Help, and we're going to run episodes 1 and 2. And we talked to Watchtower Help. Now, if you don't know who Watchtower Help is, he has a blog, and he has thousands of pieces of literature on it. Well, his anonymous name is Frank, and Frank has worked in the New York Bethel, and he actually, when he got in there and he was going full hilt, he realized all of these discrepancies with the Bible and the Watchtower course, and he started putting together like a 20-page letter and wrote it to the boss, whoever the boss was, and he got thrown out of Watchtower just for questioning a few things. But we know that's how it works. Excuse me. So we're going to go on, and so Watchtower Help Club, Frank comes out and goes about his life, and then, later on, and does all this work. But Frank's been working at a lot of this stuff since 2011. So he's got over a decade worth of work into some of his work here. So here it is. We're going to start with number 1 right here.
How can a 7,000-year period?
And I was watching it, so we're going to rewind it. And we're going to turn on that and turn me on.
Let's get real.
Phillips Detective Agency? My name is Stephen Morris, and I want you to follow my wife. No, I don't expect her of cheating, but I want to find out if she is. No, I have no reason to suspect her. We're separated, so I don't know what she's doing other than dropping the kids off at school in the morning. You see, I recently became a Jehovah's Witness, and I can't divorce her and remarry unless she commits adultery. So, you'll watch her? I'm Stephen Morris, 38 years old, with 2 kids. I am a baptized Jehovah's Witness, but my wife, Gloria, even though she was studying with me and the kids at one time, has gone apostate and is now opposed to the truth. We're currently battling over our children, who she has custody of, though I have them on the weekends. I'm doing everything I can to bring my kids into the truth.
What about your wife?
Of course, I'd like to bring her into the truth as well, but honestly, I think she's a lost cause. But, unless she commits adultery, I'm stuck with her.
Hi, Dad.
Hi, Daddy.
Hi, kids. Hi, Gloria.
Hi.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Sappho.
Unusual names.
When we were born, Mom and Dad were very liberal, and they had a lot of gay friends.
Our names are a joke.
They're not a joke. They're a social satirical comment we should be proud to bear.
What do you think of your parents living apart?
What do you think? Of course it's upsetting.
Duh.
Do you miss going to the Kingdom Hall and seeing your Jehovah's Witness friends?
No, because Dad still takes us there on Sundays.
Shush. Mom doesn't know.
So, what have you got planned for the kids for this weekend?
We discussed this. I want to have a Bible study with the kids. Like we used to before you gave up on it.
I'm Gloria Morris, 36 years old. The wife of Stephen and the mother of Caleb and Sappho. My husband and I are separated, and I have custody during the week, and I bring them over to his house on the weekends. We did study with the witnesses for a couple of months. We even went to the Kingdom Hall. Funny thing, there was a brother visiting the congregation from Bethel, that's their headquarters, and he was really impressed with our family. He didn't realize that we were just studying. He went back to Bethel and created a series of video animations based on our family, the perfectly obedient JW family.
Why did you stop going, and what made you decide to separate?
The couple who studied with us, Eric and Sandy, their daughter was involved in a bad car accident. They took her in an ambulance to the hospital, and right away the doctor wanted to give her blood to replace all that she lost at the scene. Of course, being Jehovah's Witnesses, Eric said no way. But there was a book in the emergency room that completely debunks their blood doctrine. Sandy read the short chapter on blood and told them to go ahead and give her daughter the transfusion. It's a good thing she did, because otherwise I don't think her daughter would have made it. But Sandy was disfellowshipped for that.
Disfellowshipped?
That's when everyone in the congregation, even her family and friends, is supposed to shun her. But I stood by her. I read the whole book, and I was convinced we were foolishly joining a cult. Stephen stubbornly refused to look at the book, calling it apostate literature from Satan. The disagreements became more out of control, especially after he got baptized as a witness. Then we separated, and I sued for custody, and I won because I told the judge Stephen would let my children die if they ever needed blood.
I want to have a Bible study with the kids. Like we used to before you gave up on it.
I don't want to study the Bible. I want to practice my dancing. This is what they're learning at the dance studio Mom took me to visit.
If anyone cares.
You already agreed to let me study with them.
Reluctantly, yes. But I have some rules I want you to promise to follow this time.
What rules?
Make it a real Bible study from the Bible. No Watchtower publications.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
Promise?
All right, I promise.
And answer their questions, no matter how silly or irreverent you think they might be.
Well, sure.
I'm serious. Make it a real discussion. Not a preaching session.
I will.
Bye, kids. I'll see you on Monday. And remember always, if something doesn't seem right to you, speak up.
Kids, sit down. I've got a gift for each of you, a brand new Bible. The most accurate translation, the New World Translation. Caleb, Sappho, we're going to learn the truth from God by studying this book.
Hey Dad, this says, published by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society.
Mom said not to use their publications. You promised.
Okay. I have a bunch of other translations we can use, but only one of each. They're not as accurate, but you can learn the truth from any Bible. Let me go get them.
He's already trying to break his promise.
Give him a chance. This stuff's important to him.
I heard of a girl in another class who became a Jehovah's Witness, and she had to stand out in the hall when they made Christmas wreaths in art class. I'd be so embarrassed.
Okay, let's start by turning to Isaiah chapter 42.
Isn't that in the middle, somewhere? Shouldn't we start at the beginning?
A very good place to start.
We can do that. The first book in the Bible is Genesis. Who wants to read verse 1 of chapter 1?
I will. In the beginning God created the heavens and the earth.
Wait a minute, mine says something different. In the beginning God, Elohim, created, by forming from nothing, the heavens and the earth. What does Elohim mean?
That's just the Hebrew word for God.
It says here that Elohim means gods, plural. So, why doesn't it say, gods, created the heavens and the earth?
Why doesn't it say Jehovah? I thought you told us before that name was so important.
Well, it means Jehovah. Just like you call me Dad, instead of Stephen, it's a title rather than a name. And Elohim can be plural or singular. Just like the word sheep.
Yeah, but how do you know it means Jehovah? If it could be plural, how do you know it doesn't mean gods?
Look, I know I'll sound like a typical boastful mother, and all mothers should be proud of their kids, right? But my kids? Let me tell you, precocious isn't the word, they're little geniuses. Straight A's in school, IQs off the charts, science project awards. Someday they'll be working for NASA or something like that. Well, unless they get sucked into their dad's religion, the witnesses don't believe in higher education or pursuing a career. Everyone's supposed to just get a menial job, scrape by, and devote all of their time and energy to the ministry, spreading the words of the Watchtower far and wide. That would be a great pity and a loss to society. I'm going to do whatever I can to protect them from that.
But you let your husband study with them.
Yes. I don't want the witnesses to appear as the forbidden fruit, or for their dad to pull the martyr card and claim he's being persecuted for the truth. No, I want my kids to know all about their dad's religion, so they can make an informed decision. If they weren't so smart, I might think twice about that. But I trust them to see the cult for what it is.
How do you know it doesn't mean gods?
Because of what other parts of the Bible say. Jehovah is the only true God. You can't expect to learn the whole truth from just the first verse.
Okay, but what does it mean by beginning? The beginning of what?
The beginning of creation.
But you told us that Jesus was the beginning of the creation by God.
Very good, Caleb. That's from Revelation chapter 3, verse 14.
But if he was the beginning, then the creation of the heavens and the earth can't be the beginning. It has to be one or the other. So, which is it?
Jehovah created Jesus first, as the Word, and then Jesus created everything else.
So, the first verse in the Bible is wrong then, if you say it means that Jehovah created the heavens and the earth.
Yeah, because Jesus created them, right?
Well, technically, Jesus created them, but this verse gives credit to Jehovah because he was the instigator.
Or, maybe Elohim really is plural here, and the gods it means are Jehovah and Jesus.
Maybe.
Then how come Nehemiah chapter 9, verse 6 says, "You alone are Jehovah"? You alone made heaven, even the heaven of heavens, with all their forces. You made the earth and all that is on it. If Jehovah made it all alone, then he couldn't have made it along with or through Jesus.
Unless Jesus is Jehovah.
But let's move on to the next verse. Sappho, would you like to read it?
Wait a sec, Dad. What's this about the heavens and the earth? Does it mean heaven, where God lives? Or the universe?
Well, since it says heavens, plural, maybe it means both.
Okay, but if it means the spiritual heaven, then where did God live before he created it?
And if it means the universe, then why does it say, and the earth, when the earth is part of the universe?
Yeah, it would be like saying, I visited the United States, and Minnesota. Makes no sense.
Yeah, and I've been reading ahead. In verses 6 through 8 it says God created the heavens on the second day. So how could he have created it, in the beginning? So verse 1 must mean the spiritual heaven, right?
Well, day 2 was still part of the days of creation, which all happened in the beginning. So, I think it means the physical heaven rather than the spiritual heaven, because God must have been living in heaven for eternity prior to this.
Hey, I've been reading ahead too, Dad. And what's this about these days of creation? He created light, and everything on earth in 6 days? So plants were created on the 3rd day, the sun and moon on the 4th, all the animals on the 5th, and people on the 6th. We learned in school that it took millions of years for life to evolve.
Evolution is a lie of Satan the devil's to mislead people away from the truth of the Bible. But there's no reason to think of these as 6 literal 24-hour days. We think each day of creation was a little more than 7,000 years each.
Where do you get 7,000 years from?
There's a scripture that says, a day to Jehovah is as 1,000 years.
And then you just arbitrarily multiply that by 7?
No, we base everything on scripture. It's complicated. Suffice it to say, for now, that 7 is a symbolic number in the Bible.
There were dinosaurs living 65 million years before there were humans, not just 7,000 years before. And how could vegetation exist for 7,000 years before the sun was visible from the earth? Didn't the Bible writers know about photosynthesis?
Jenny at school? She set my herb garden in the shade before spring break, and it all died. She's such a spiteful creature.
Well, these are all good questions, and I don't have all the answers right now. I can tell you this though, when science is at odds with the Bible, we have to go by the Bible because it's God's word. But I want you to get the gist of the truth and not get lost in the details. Jehovah, he's a loving God who wants you to live forever on a paradise earth. Wouldn't you love that?
Why do you call God a he? Is there gender in heaven?
Because the Bible refers to him that way.
The Bible was written by men, I'll bet.
In verse 26 it says, And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness. There's those plurals again, when referring to God. But, anyway, God must be male since he made man in his image.
Very good. Thanks, Caleb.
Oh, yeah, Read the next verse, stupid. It says, "So God created man in his own image. In the image and likeness of God he created him. Male and female he created them." So, God was both male and female.
Well, no, that's not what it means. God is male.
How do you know? Have you seen God? And what does it mean for a spirit being to be male? Does he have a penis? And if so, why? What would he use it for?
Do they have to go potty in heaven?
Or do they have sex? Didn't Jesus say that the angels don't have sex? But then how did the fallen angels mate with women?
That's quite enough out of you two. We'll have another Bible study tomorrow. For now you can both go to your rooms and do your homework.
He tells us to ask questions, that he welcomes questions. And then when we ask questions he gets mad at us. I'm going to read over the first chapters again tonight, after my homework, and come up with more questions.
It shouldn't be this hard. This is just the first chapter of Genesis, after all. I'm afraid it's going to be an all-uphill battle with these two. They're too smart for their own good. They get that from their mother's side. But we'll have another Bible study tomorrow after we get back from the Kingdom Hall, and I'll be ready for them this time.
Will you prepare anything differently for next time?
I'm going to read everything I can in the Watchtower publications about the first chapters of Genesis. I'll be ready with answers to all of their questions tomorrow.
Next time, on JW Reality TV.
Well, brothers, we're here to discuss a disturbing matter.
Okay, so we're gonna pause it there because we're gonna cover the next one here, and it's right here. So what I think is really good about this new reality TV that Watchtower Help Admin has brought out is this can actually help to educate Jehovah's Witnesses that are going through a separation. And let's say they're going through a separation or a divorce, and there's the kids are on both sides of the fence. How do we respectfully deal with the religion, and how do we do all of this to still show respect to either party? So I thought there's some really good pointers in here, good pointers for children to ask questions, not to hamper the children, but get them asking questions and see what questions they ask. And once we find out that the children are asking these types of questions, we're going to find that we can't explain them from the Bible. So that's what we're going to find. So let's go on and see what happened in the second episode here. Got to play the commercial.
Previously on JW.
Okay, I'm gonna disappear here.
Reality TV.
Phillips Detective Agency? My name is Stephen Morris, and I want you to follow my wife. You see, I recently became a Jehovah's Witness, and I can't divorce her and remarry unless she commits adultery.
I'm Caleb.
And I'm Sappho.
I'm Gloria Morris, 36 years old, the wife of Stephen and the mother of Caleb and Sappho. My husband and I are separated, and I have custody during the week, and I bring them over to his house on the weekends.
I want to have a Bible study with the kids, like we used to before you gave up on it.
Make it a real Bible study from the Bible. No Watchtower publications.
Who wants to read verse 1 of chapter 1?
But my kids? Let me tell you, precocious isn't the word, they're little geniuses. Someday they'll be working for NASA or something like that. Well, unless they get sucked into their dad's religion, the witnesses don't believe in higher education or pursuing a career. I'm going to do whatever I can to protect them from that.
Didn't the Bible writers know about photosynthesis?
When science is at odds with the Bible, we have to go by the Bible because it's God's word.
Why do you call God a he? Is there gender in heaven? The Bible was written by men, I'll bet. And what does it mean for a spirit being to be male? Does he have a penis?
Let's get real.
Thanks, Dad, for taking us out to eat. After those interminable meetings.
You're welcome. But the meetings are fascinating and upbuilding.
We got bored, waiting for you for so long, in the empty hall.
What were you doing all that time, with the elders in the back room?
Well, that's private. That's why judicial meetings are held in the back room.
Sit down, Brother Morris. Well, brothers, we're here to discuss a disturbing matter.
Yes, indeed. Scandalous, I'd say.
What's it all about, brothers? Did I do something wrong?
We, and the entire congregation, have noticed you're sitting next to Sister Abrams in the hall.
You're a married man.
What do you have to say for yourself?
Oh, it's okay, brothers. My wife has committed adultery, so I'm divorcing her. Scripturally, I consider myself divorced already. It's just the secular legalities of it that have to be worked out, and that takes time, as you know. But in Jehovah's eyes, I'm free to remarry.
How do you know your wife has committed adultery?
Did you catch her in the act?
We need details.
The more details, the better.
I hired a private investigator to follow her. I have his report if you'd like to read it. He witnessed her staying overnight at a man's house.
No details of the sex.
Sorry, no. It was too much money to get the 24-hour surveillance package with photographic coverage. But the detective followed her to the man's house. Her car was still in the man's driveway when the detective left at 5 o'clock that evening, and it was still there when he returned in the morning. Plus, he tracked her cell phone and saw that it hadn't moved from the man's residence all night.
It's more than enough to establish her guilt.
Yes, Brother Morris, you have earned a scriptural divorce.
But you still shouldn't sit next to Sister Abrams until your divorce is legally finalized.
Oh, I think we can waive that stipulation.
Okay, as long as Brother Morris is sitting with the entire Abrams family, not just the daughter.
Okay, kids, let's start our family Bible study. I've got answers to all of your questions from yesterday.
Good. Did you look them all up in Watchtower publications?
Well, that and jw.org.
The mom said.
She said not to use Watchtower publications during our Bible study. That doesn't mean I can't use them to prepare for it. Besides, as the man, I'm in charge, not Mom.
I hate it when he pulls the, "I'm the man, I'm in charge" routine. He's just skirting around the rule. If we do that, he lowers the hammer, but as the dad, he gets away with it. If that macho crap is part of his religion, it makes me hate it even more. I'll be an obedient daughter, but I'm not going to be submissive to someone just because they're a man.
Anyway, Caleb, you asked how we get 7,000 years for the length of each day of creation. I found the answer. If you count up all the ages of the men in the Bible when they had children, you'll see that Adam was created about 6,000 years ago, and we're still in the seventh day of creation, where it says God is resting from all his created works. And then we still have the 1,000 years of Christ's reign to get through, so that makes the seventh day a total of 7,000 years. The other days must have been equally long.
Oh, okay.
When things don't go as expected, it can be, well, frustrating. Not with
how do we know that we're still in the seventh day?
Because, for all of the other days of creation, it says they had a morning and an evening, an nth day, but not the seventh. For the seventh day it says in chapter 2, verse 3, that God made the seventh day sacred, a Sabbath day on which God has been resting. Which is an ongoing thing.
My Bible doesn't say that. It says, He rested on the seventh day, past tense.
Yeah, that's what mine says too.
Well, the New World Translation is what I'm quoting. Remember I told you it's the most accurate.
Yeah, but that's a Watchtower publication, and if it's the only one that says that, you can't use it.
Why can't he use it?
'Cause he said you can learn the truth from any Bible. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Also, Mom said no Watchtower publications. Remember?
Oh, yeah. Dad, are there other translations that say resting instead of rested?
Well, not that I know of.
Hey, mine has a cross-reference to John 5:17. Maybe that'll help. It says, Jesus said to them, My Father is always at his work to this very day, and I too am working. Oh. So, if God is working, he's not resting anymore, and the seventh day must be over.
And if the seventh day is over, you've lost your reason for thinking that it's 7,000 years long.
Well, he's resting from his creative work, but doing other work, I guess.
But here's another cross-reference, to Psalm 104 verse 30, which reads, When you send your spirit, they are created. So, according to the Bible, he's still creating. Every person born is a new creation.
Interesting.
You can't just say, interesting, and go on believing that we're still in the seventh day. Don't you see how this destroys that belief?
Well, if I had my Watchtower publications, I'm sure we could find an answer.
So then we can't learn the truth from any Bible, like you said. We can only arrive at Watchtower conclusions from reading Watchtower publications.
But, Dad, here's what I want to know. The Bible says there was a morning and an evening to each of the 6 days. How can a 7,000-year period have a morning and an evening?
It must be symbolic.
Symbolic of what?
I don't know.
Well, verse 5 of the first chapter says, God called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there was evening, and there was morning, the first day. That doesn't sound symbolic to me. But you want us to believe that, after having just defined a day as a light, the very first use the word is put to, doesn't mean light at all, but rather a symbolic period, totaling 7,000 years.
Maybe the universe was light for half the time, morning, and dark for half the time, evening, 3,500 years each.
That's just stupid. And anyway, we know, from the age of the rocks and stuff, that the Earth has been around a whole lot longer than 7 days of 7,000 years each.
7 times 7,000 is 49,000 years. That's a long time.
Why does verse 4 of chapter 2 refer to the day that the Lord God made the earth and the heavens? Sounds like he made it during one of the days, not before. And why does my Bible have a cross-reference here to Exodus 20 verse 11, which says, For in 6 days the Lord made the heavens and the earth?
Well, heaven and earth must be referring to his making the dry land and the sky. But the earth itself was there before the first day.
That just doesn't make sense. If the stars and the earth were already there before the first day, then the sky was already there too. The sky is just space surrounding the earth. It doesn't require a later special creation in and of itself. As soon as there was an earth, there was a sky. It couldn't have waited to be created on the second day.
Well, I've explained it as best I can without the publications. Any questions?
Yeah. Do you really think that the people who wrote this, and the people who have read it prior to Watchtower publications, really believed these days were 7,000 years long? Don't you really think they believed it meant 24-hour days?
I don't know what they believed, but I know the truth as revealed to us in these last days by the faithful and discreet slave. Any other questions?
Yeah, I was reading chapter 2 last night, and I wondered about something. Remember yesterday we read the order of creation was, plants, on the 3rd day, animals, on the 5th, and then man and woman, on the 6th? So how come in chapter 2 the order is, man, plants, animals, and then woman?
Of course woman would be the last thing anyone thought of.
So, was man created before the plants and animals, or after them?
I don't know, Caleb. That's a good question that I don't have an answer to right now.
Well, the Bible has an answer. Actually, it has 2 answers, and they contradict each other. You can believe one or the other of them, but not both.
I believe them both.
Impossible. You can't believe that man was created before plants and animals, and that he was created after the plants and animals.
When you can't understand something, that's when faith comes into play.
Not understanding is different than pretending to believe the inherently impossible. And let me ask you this, was woman created at the same time, like we read yesterday, male and female he created them, in God's likeness, or as an afterthought from a rib, after Adam tried out all the animals first?
Oh, I looked into that likeness thing last night, and I can answer that for you now. It doesn't mean that we physically look like God, but rather that we are moral agents like God.
What does moral agents mean?
Basically, moral means that we know right from wrong. And agents mean that we can act on that knowledge. Any other questions?
As if you've answered the questions I've already asked.
Hey guys, did you have a nice time with your father?
Sure.
Not really. Just Bible study and homework.
Well, come on, let's go get some pizza and watch Harry Potter.
Yay!
I mentioned that on purpose. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't allowed to watch Harry Potter because of the magic. They hate magic. One of Caleb's friends gave him an action figure back when we were all studying. It was of a wizard called Sparlock. We made him throw it away. They say that Jehovah hates magic. I guess they forgot about his competing with the Egyptian magicians with Moses as his frontman in Exodus.
I found out something disturbing today, at the Kingdom Hall. I don't know if I should tell anyone. I couldn't tell my dad, because he'd just toe the party line and say we can't air any information that would bring reproach to Jehovah's organization.
It sounds like you need to get it off your chest.
April, a girl my age, told me that Elder Curtis touched her down there. More than once. I told her to report him to Elder Mortimer. He seems the kindest of the lot. But she said she already did. They had a judicial meeting on it, and decided not to report it to the authorities because there weren't 2 witnesses to the molestation. They told April to keep quiet about it and not to make up stories that would hurt one of Jehovah's servants. It makes me so mad.
It's been 6 days since I've applied for a custom policy.
2 weeks for me.
It should be quick and easy to shop on.
Next time, on JW Reality TV.
This is Helen Jean Abrams. My fiancée.
What? Aren't you still married to Gloria?
A technicality. I filed for divorce.
So, she committed adultery, then?
Yes. Kids, today we come to the most important part of Genesis, the story of Adam and Eve.
Wait a minute, Dad. A talking serpent?
Well, we know it was Satan acting like a ventriloquist to make it appear that the serpent was speaking.
How do you know that? Where does it say that in Genesis?
Actually, surprisingly, Satan isn't mentioned by name in Genesis or in any of the first 5 books.
But we're supposed to be just going by what the Bible actually says, not surmising all these conjectures, and adding imaginary scenes to try to make it work out the way we think it should be.
You children need to be more submissive. You know what the Bible says they used to do to sassy children? They'd stone them to death.
Submissive? No, that's your role if you want to be a JW wife, not our role. Obeying is different from kowtowing or swallowing make-believe stories, as if they were true, without thinking for ourselves, to see if they even make sense.
You know, you say that evil exists because God didn't want to curtail our free will. Yet, that's exactly what the Watchtower wants to do, have us give up our free will and follow blindly whatever the governing body and the elders dictate.
I need you to leave so we can study the Watchtower for tomorrow's meeting at the Kingdom Hall.
She's our mom, and she can come and see us whenever she likes. She has more right to be here than Helen, a girl who's only 5 years older than me. And, furthermore, I'm not going to the meeting tomorrow. In fact, I'm not setting foot in that Kingdom Hall ever again. They're talking bad about my mom.
Well, that was a really good video. So many levels to the video when we really think about it. Just off the top of my head from watching this a couple of times, you could watch this several times and get something new out of it. There's so much learning in the video. The kids are actually teaching the adults. I know my wife and I, we sat down and started looking through Genesis to see the discrepancies in Genesis, just as was presented on the video. And sure enough, the discrepancies are there. And again, I think, when we were Jehovah's Witnesses or ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, and we were in the Watchtower, we surmised a lot, and we would fill in the blanks, and it was subtle. The programming is so subtle because it's in the Watchtower. It's all Watchtower words, and they only cherry pick little pieces here, and then they'll cherry pick other pieces. They'll throw that into Genesis and make that all one big story. So really, when we think of the Watchtower, we got to be honest with ourselves. We got to think the Watchtower is no different from watching the Anunnaki movies. We watched the Anunnaki movie, one of them, I think, on our Saturday Sex show the other day, and then we watched the Galactic Federation, another one, on our show, and it's no different than watching or listening to the Watchtower. But the problem with the Watchtower is the Watchtower puts this out as fact, not fiction. And all of those other creators come right out and say this is fiction. We don't have all of the story. We don't have all the Moabite tablets. They're broken in half, some of them. So we have to fictionalize. We have to think what it would be like. So Sitchin was one, and he put a lot, and he said in his book, some of this is fiction, based on what he could, and he couldn't really read it. He was, other scholars were doing the actual translation from the tablet. So there's a lot of fiction into everything that's out there today. So we really got to be careful. The problem coming out of the Watchtower is we at one time believed, and our subconscious now holds programs that the Watchtower has run. And the only way to undo these programs in our mind is to watch videos like this over and over again to undo this programming. As well as if we're in split up families, this really tells us and gives us some leverage how we can handle our situation. For instance, if the kids are involved, we can dictate in the marriage and in the divorce that the kids cannot look at Watchtower information. And it's simply because of the self-suicide, the no blood doctrine, some of these things, shunning family members, all of these things that Watchtower does really disqualifies them for getting a lot of custody rights. So don't be afraid. I think these videos help us as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses how to deal with things when it comes to legalities in this situation. So very good job, Watchtower help admin, Frank. We look forward to see this continually, and we as the audience can help Frank out by subscribing to his channel. And I noticed it already went up. So let's get Frank up to 1,000, and let's do that as quick as we can, friends, and help Frank at least pay his internet bill. And that's even going to take a while longer. But at least when he gets up there, he can start to see some monetization. So we're going to move on in the program here tonight, and we have our last program here is the governing body bloopers. Have you ever seen the governing body bloopers? This is a brand new creator out there. Governing body bloopers, 34 subscribers, 1 video. And thanks to, I think, Mimi or one of our subscribers sent us to this site. So again, if we can help these new subscribers, we get onto this site and subscribe, hit subscribe as soon as you get off this show, and help these new creators to grow their channel. So let's take a look at this video. I thought it was brilliantly done. And I went to the about, there's nothing there, joined 2023, just joined June 30th. Just set up this YouTube channel, only has 659 views. So there's a lot of creators out there that don't talk about themselves. And but this one's about Tony in jail and the phone call to Stephen Lett, a Jehovah's Witnesses humor. So the reason I like this video so much is we need more humor in our lives. We need to laugh more. And that'll change the programming that we were once in. It was so serious. It was so about fear, about Armageddon. It wasn't about laughing. And we have to get out of that, change the programming, and change it. The Watchtower becomes a laughing matter. And that's another way of deprogramming ourselves, is when we look at the Watchtower, we just start laughing. We don't get angry no more. If we're getting angry still, that means we still have some programming that we have to undo in our minds. And it does take time. So here we go. We're going to take a look at the governing body bloopers.
How it's going?
Anthony, is that you?
Hey, Stephen, how it's going?
Anthony, is that you?
Yeah, it's me. It's been a long time. I haven't heard from you guys.
Well, at the moment, it's not really a good time to talk. We're a bit busy.
Remember now, the last time I spoke to you, David, Jeffrey, and the rest of the body, we agreed that we would keep in touch, you know.
Yeah, I know. But the last time we spoke, you were going on and on about smoke. Smoke this and smoke that, and how you would like to smoke those 2 new governing body members. You remember
Come
that?
on, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah, I thought
Well,
so.
anyways, look, I know you guys are busy and all, feeding Jehovah's people, but there is something I need, a favor.
Oh, God.
A big favor, actually. Now,
What is that now, Tony?
you have to promise me, and I'm really serious now, Stephen. You can't tell anyone about this. Not even Sammy, because I know you love to tell him stuff, okay?
Okay, what is it?
So, I'm actually in Brooklyn at the moment. I got arrested last night, and I
shit,
need
what?
you to bail me out.
I told you that all this smoke talk would get you into trouble, Tony.
Yeah, I know.
This is what happens when you leave Jehovah, Tony. How did you get in this mess, Tony?
Well, I don't know. I was feeling a bit down last night, thinking about you guys. I mean, I really miss you guys, you know? All the new light that we came up with together. How we fantasize about killing all those apostates with Jesus, especially that one about smoke.
Come on. There you go about smoke again, Tony.
But you guys really did a number on me, didn't you? You went ahead and deleted all my videos from the website.
We had to.
I went to a bar just down the street to have a few drinks. But I swear to God, Stephen, I only wanted to have one drink, just one drink. But you know how it goes with your old boy, Tony. 1 turned into 2. 2 turned into 5.
Oh, God.
And it just went downhill from there.
Really?
Stephen,
Really now?
come on. Cut me a little
Jesus,
slack
Tony.
here, will you? You're acting like it's not me you're talking to here?
Don't you see you have a problem, don't you?
Yeah, I know.
So what happened? How did you end up in jail?
Well, that's the funny part. Some guy seemed to recognize me from across the room at the bar and yelled out, "Tight pants, Tony!" Now, at first, I was going to let it slide. But I was 10 shots deep, and this guy was getting on my bleeping nerve. So I said, "Say it again." He did.
Jesus, come on.
So I punched that stupid apostate right in the face. I blew him out like smoke.
Tony, no.
Anyways, I need you, Stephen. I can't stay in here any longer. What if one of our brothers works in here and recognizes me? My life would be over. You gotta help me, man.
You didn't. Tony, I can't. I wish I could, but I can't. Sam is coming.
Is that Tony Stephen?
Is that Sammy?
Tony!
Oh my God, Sam.
Now listen to me, you old fool.
Hey, Sammy.
I tried to tell you to stop calling Stephen or anyone else on the governing body.
Sam.
You are no longer one of us. You are an embarrassment to us and Jehovah. Do you know that?
Well, he's in jail.
What? I don't give a damn if he's in jail. Well, be like smoke and fly out of there. Now get off the goddamn phone.
Come on, Sammy. Hello? Shit.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So, very, very good job, governing body bloopers. And thanks for putting that together for us, bringing a laugh. And, who knows, that could be real. But of course, these are satires, so let us help the governing body bloopers out. And if he gets a bunch more subscribers, he'll do some more of this stuff. He'll be inspired by the audience. I think it's fun. So that brings a close to our program tonight. We have one more special guest. Guess who that is? I'm going to go to the live stream, just see who's online. So Witnesses Underground, Beverly Howard, Tammy G. Hello, Tammy. And this is this person that is coming into the studio has only been on the studio once before. So you guys ready for this? This is my good wife. She's coming into the studio tonight. So Gilbert. There is hell. Yes, there is. So it's funny, when we have to laugh. And Gilbert's done a great job on his show. We've been watching a lot of the programs, and I was really intrigued, Gilbert, with one of your recent shows where you were showing 4-dimensional stuff, and you brought in that video. And it's one thing to explain it, but then you brought in this scientific video. And you've really done a lot of good research there, and I appreciated that, and I bet you a lot of other people have. And if you haven't seen Gilbert's video, just go up to his live. I think he did it on a live. He'll tell you. A real good video on how to see into other dimensions. And then he showed us how to actually see where God lives. I don't want to give too much of Gilbert's video away, but that's how I always believed it, Gilbert. That's where God is. We always called him Jehovah, but maybe we got to use a different name, just God, Elohim. I don't know, but that's what I always believed. What you taught in that video. Very well done, Gilbert. So this is going to bring an end to our program, people, for tonight. And here we go. So you know the drill. Until next time, keep living your life with love.